Well, you've seen the hullabaloo, shall I say, that happened last weekend, or well, 2 weekends ago now, in the US, in Charlottesville, and I have to say this: what the left did was right. Now, I don't agree with any violence. Let me point that out. So, before we get into that, if you want to maintain the moral high ground, left, just don't do any violence. This goes out to the Antifa people as well. Every time you hit someone, doesn't even matter if they're, wearing, all the old paraphernalia thing on their arm, don't hit them. If they hit you, just let them hit you. You maintain the moral high ground, and, let them speak. Now, let me tell you why. Back in the 2000s, we had two groups very similar to what's going on in America, one called the BNP, the other called the EDL. Now, what happened to these two groups? Well, it was basically this. The BNP, or the British Nationalist Party, was completely racist through and through. We all knew it was. So what did we do? We let them speak. Nick Griffin went on Question Time and was literally hung, drawn and quartered and shown to the nation exactly what he was, and the BNP just fell to pieces. It's never recovered. And then we got the EDL, or the English Defence League, run by Tommy Robinson. Now, what happened to the EDL? Well, Tommy Robinson has his opinion on why the EDL failed, but let me tell you really reason why. So, the EDL, after the BNP failed, was a street grassroots protest movement, essentially, to try and defend Englishness. So what happened? Well, really what they were, the protests were essentially days out for racists. They'd go somewhere to watch the football, have a protest in the morning, get drunk, and then go watch the football, and then go home. Now what happened was that they started to be met by counter-protests, and the counter-protests grew bigger and bigger and bigger, until they absolutely dwarfed the EDL numbers in complete size and completely. And here's the same thing. We let them talk. There are hundreds of videos of EDL members speaking. Again, same for the BNP as well. Let them speak. Let them hang themselves with their own rope. And then you can go, well, you're not a racist. Okay then, why did you say this on this date? And you can point to specific examples. And just let them hang themselves with their own rope. That's exactly how we dealt with the BNP and EDL. And, basically in non-violent ways. And that is the big thing, because you need to sort out Antifa over there. If people start to do things and they, let's say they are violent and they try to hide in your crowd, push them out, push them back, report them to the police. You do not want those types of people at your protest. It makes the entire protest looks bad. That way the next time Donald Trump can't say, oh, there was violence on both sides. Yeah, it's complete bonkers what he said. But you know what? The next time he says it, it'll be even more true. Because there was no violence at your protest this time. Protesting being the counter-protest. If they throw stuff, don't throw it back. If they hit you with sticks, yeah, cover up and, try and get away, but don't hit back. It's not, showing signs of weakness. It's you maintain the moral high ground. That way, they can never ever say you were the ones that started violence. And that is how, in the UK, we beat the BNP and EDL. To a point, I can actually prove this. We have another party, again, an offshoot from the EDL when it fell, called Britain First. Britain First no longer exist and no longer do advertised protests, because they know if they do, they will get counter-protested out, basically. They will lose members just like the EDL did, because the people who were with them, who were protesting, were like, are we really on the right side here when there's like so many people protesting against us? And then that's when they start to listen. That's when they start to look at it and go, I don't really agree with what he's saying, I'm not going to be a member of their group anymore. And that's how you win. That's how you beat them. So hopefully that's a bit of advice from someone in the UK. And I was there. I was in the thick of it when these were happening. I was at university. I was living in Leicester at the time when these protests were happening. And I remember the door-knocking campaigns they used to run, where they literally used to go around as fast as possible. Because remember, none of these people that attended the protests, certainly in the UK, were from were from Leicester. They were desperate to try and get anyone they could who was local, to try and come and support them, because they'd all been bussed in from outside. And that's why it's also important to get the local population on your side as well. That's why you should also remain non-violent completely. Be absolutely, pacifistic. Be sure to say that before each and every protest starts. Say it, twice. Say it 3 times. Say it 4 times. Just keep on saying it, and you will have the moral high ground. You'll start to be able to hang them with their own rope, with their own things they've said, and that's how you beat them, essentially.